Right, today we talk about transference. It's supposed to be transference and counter-transference, but I think transference is such a big topic that we'll worry about counter-transference next time. The most important thing is that we just get this thing about transference going and a full understanding of what transference is and what influence transference got on us as counsellors. Now, what is transference?
It's where the client puts their projection of feelings onto the counsellor.
Okay, nice, Jenny. Transference occurs when a person takes the perceptions and expectations of one person and projects those onto another person. They then interact with the other person as if the other person is that transferred pattern. That is big words for what Jenny said. You'll find that in personal life, just a little example. You'll go somewhere, let's say you'll be at a party. Someone walks in and suddenly you feel threatened by this person, or you feel inferior by this person. You haven't spoken a word to this person, you haven't talked to this person, you just saw this person, and suddenly you feel this, you've got this feeling of inferiority or threatened by this person. That's transference. The person did nothing wrong, the person that doesn't even know what's happening in your life at this stage. Okay, so that's just transference. Now that will happen in your counseling room. And it's very important that you be aware of transference. Counter-transference is also involved, but we'll talk about that next time. We'll just get this concept going. Transference is, and that's one of the reasons why we do triads. Because in triads, we want all the transference to come out so that we can deal with this before you go and sit in a counseling room counseling people. Because transference is not so good. Okay, it's good while we practice to get rid of transference. Okay, so I'm just going to, before we go on, anyone wants to say something about transference?
So it's like an intimidation.
Sort of, not really, but it is. It's one of it.
Projection.
It's a projection.
Yeah.
It's a projection. Something in the past happened. That person reminds you of someone in the past.
Or like if you see something on the news that makes you sad, type of deal?
Not really. It can, but not really. It's more related to a person that you had an experience with. So let's say an older person, you had a bad experience with father or father issues. And suddenly you get this older person and they sort of transfer.
Remind you of that
Yes.
person, so you treat them.
Yeah.
So is it coming from your subconscious?
It comes from the subconscious. So it's like, even in class, some students you can't get, some students you struggle to communicate with, not because of issues, but there's something in you that makes you upset with them very easy. It's something, it might be a transference of something that happened in the past. So that's part of what we do here, is trying to get you to get these things in the air so that we can work with them so that you don't sit in your counseling room and have transference. But also it's important to be aware of this fact that when you get that, you go and ask yourself, what happened here? Why do I feel this? I mean, there's no way that in 18 months you can deal with all transference in your life. But it will come up, and you'll just be aware of this and you work with this the whole time. That's why it's important, that's why we talk about professional supervision. You go to your professional supervisor and say, I had this session with this guy, he just rubs me up wrong. Normally your supervisor will say, why do you act that way? Why do you react that way? What's this guy doing in you so that you react this way? So that's transference. So that's why it's an important thing to know and to work with. Actually, Freud is one of the first persons that actually identified this. So this is a bit of a Freud concept that some guys have worked on it. Some theorists have worked on this and developed it. So if you Google on YouTube, there's quite a lot of discussions about it. So. In the way we tend to become the person that others assume we are, the person who has patterns transferred onto them may collaborate and play the game, especially if the transference gives them power or makes them feel good in some way. So sometimes you'll have a client who will react or reminds you of your father. Taking the father example. Your father was very dominating on you, he was very controlling on you, and suddenly in your sessions you give control to your client. So if your client says, I don't want to do this, then you say, okay, fine, I submit. You submit, you as counsel will submit because of this transference, if you're not aware of it. And that's why you go to your supervisor and say, hey, every time this guy says something, I agree with him. What's wrong? That's part of your transference. Okay. There are different forms of transference. Types. We've got the paternal one. We've got maternal, sibling transference, and other forms of transference. So the most dominating one is the paternal one. The dad one, because dad's the controlling figure, or the guy that's doing the discipline in the house, the power one. So you'll get a lot of these paternal things. That's one of the most frequent issues you'll have, will be the paternal one. So let's just explore a bit about them. Okay, and it's much bigger for you. We don't want the maternal now.
She's great.
Okay, paternal, right. When we create paternal transference, we turn the other person into either our father or an idealized father figure. Fathers are powerful, authoritative, and wise. They protect us and tell us what to do. They know many things. They provide a sense of control in our lives. They make us feel safe. This is one thing that you, especially men, get when you counsel a lady. You get someone that's got issues with her dad. She's looking for a father figure. She's looking for someone that is wise, someone that's authoritative, someone that can help them to gain control of their lives, someone that's caring, someone that makes them feel safe. What does the counselor do? She sees the counselor as the wise one, the safe one, the authoritative one, the one that's helping her to control her life, making sense of stuff, and suddenly she places the counselor in that position. So the transference of the father figure is suddenly placed onto you as the counselor. That's why some people will start to admire the counselor, and that's why it's so important to have boundaries. Because once you overstep your boundaries, things really get bad and messy. That's why if you look at your counselling association rules and regulations and codes of conduct, one of the things that's really clear there is to set boundaries with your clients, no special treatment for your clients, all sorts of interesting things as part of this transference. We often transfer our 4 or 5-year-old child where father knows best, and the pattern is one of trust and compliance. When we regard higher level leaders, like your CEO, the transference may be as a baby where the father is distant, powerful, and protective. If you work somewhere, think of how you feel towards the CEO or the manager or the authority figures in your world. Do you become like the child? Male managers in companies often encourage paternal transference by taking on the mantle and behaviors of classical fathers. They assume wisdom. They speak with authority. They reassure us that all will be well if we do what they tell us. So it's like this father figure. So you can just, in your own mind, if you work with people, get to know people around you, just for interest's sake, think what's happening. What's happening in your own life towards certain people, if there's transference. it's interesting to start to if you look at this transference thing in your own life, where is moments of this, because they happen. They happen. There's the wise man. Like to talk to him. Why? What's happening? Okay. Right. The next one is maternal. We develop relationships with our mothers at much earlier dates, and so take on roles of babies more than children. In our early years, in particular, mothers are the source of unconditional love. Mothers appear in myth as both the fairy godmother and also the wicked witch. Maternal transference is often deeper and more primitive and emotional elements than the paternal ones. Women managers often have excessive expectation put on them, but they will nurture their staff, who then become disillusioned when it does not happen, and then suddenly we say the manager becomes the witch. And in walks the manager. so in maternal transference, we expect the person to be loving, to be that mother figure. And if they don't do that, suddenly in our minds they change to being the witch, the not caring person. And also in your counseling room, that's again a thing about women counselors, is that your client will sometimes will place you in that position as the mother figure. They're coming to you. They might have mother issues. They might have not had the mother they wanted to have, the one that speaks wisdom, the one that cares, the one that loves. They might not have that person in their life. And so they come to you as a counselor, and what happens? You sit there, you smile at them, you use all the right the eye contact's there, the body language is there, the love is there, the safety is there, and they start transferring. And suddenly you become this figure for them, this mother, this caring person. But just as you become the mother, the loving, caring person, the moment things happen and they don't like you anymore, you turn into the witch. That terrible counselor who never listens to me. One mistake and you turn from the loving mother to the witch. So be careful when you counsel. Be aware of this. Be aware of the actions, the body language of your client. Also, we talked. I think there's a video one workshop we did a while ago on the use of self, the use of your own body, the use of your body language, how you sit, how you operate, your hand gestures towards your client. Be aware of those things when you work with your client, especially if you pick up there's transference happening. If you pick up there's things happening in their minds which is placing you in different positions in their lives. So be aware of that. And again, the boundary thing is very important. The Australian Accounting Association placed those boundaries there for a reason. Okay? If your client session is an hour, you stick to an hour. We don't make it 1 hour and 10 minutes. You stick to an hour. There's a reason for that. You don't give your personal details out. I prefer, they were talking about opening a practice somewhere. I prefer, if you want to open a practice, make sure you get some place, not at your home. Don't let clients come to your house. Some people will say, yes, it creates a nice vibe and atmosphere, homeliness. It's great, but you also don't want some people that's got some sort of really mental disability and placing you in some sort of maternal position to know where you live. Because they'll show up any time at your house. And they might just end up boiling the bunny. Or in our case, the guinea pig. Okay, so don't do that, right? Be aware transference is happening. It's alive and well. And it happens in all our counseling rooms. Okay, so maternal one. Then the next one is, this is a picture of it. The mother figure, the therapist is there, you there, and suddenly these things mix up. And suddenly your therapist become your mother figure. Okay. And we'll be the therapist. We're the counselor. So you're going to become this mother figure. This person will come to you and ask you for advice and ask you for, and place all that which they used to have to go to the mother figure for. they'll change from her to you, and you will become the mother. So counter-transference is going to play a role in this. Next time we're going to talk about counter-transference, what's happening when you transfer onto them. And if you transfer onto them and you're not aware of their transference onto you, it's going to be a mess. Okay, so that's the next one. Right, sibling. Sibling transference is when parents are absent in your childhood, we may substitute these with sibling relationship, either with brothers, sisters, or with friends. This is an increasingly significant pattern as families fracture and mothers spend long hours at work and are often away from the child during critical early years. So suddenly the sibling becomes the parent. So there's this sort of transference happening. The two kids, our two kids, we adopted them. We adopted them when their dad passed away, when the youngest one was 2 and the eldest was 5. We didn't adopt them then, but that's what happened in their early life. The mother placed the eldest one, the 5-year-old, she made him the father figure. So suddenly he became the father figure for the youngest one. So when the mother passed away when they were 10 and 7, that's when we adopted them. Suddenly we've got this eldest, the 10-year-old, who's the father of the 7-year-old. He's taking on that role, he's taking care of his brother. When they came to us, he'll set out his plate in the morning, his breakfast is ready. He'll make sure that what clothes he's going to wear, all those things, because he was placed in that role. So he suddenly became the father figure. So it's like placing something on someone else, which is not really their role. Okay? So just be aware of it.
It's a bit of a big responsibility for a 10-year-old.
It's a big responsibility, yeah. So that's why the kids got issues. People with preferences for sibling transfers work well in horizontal team-based organizations, as they do not fall into leader-seeking behavior. So they don't really care about following a leader. They work well in the team together because they don't really care about following someone else, because we look after ourselves. We take care of ourselves. It says here that Bill Clinton is a subject of sibling transference more than all the other US presidents, because he could get away with being the naughty older brother. When they talk about all the presidents, they see Bill Clinton as the naughty one. So that's sort of a transference thing that was placed onto him, or he fell into that category. Okay, the other form of transference we get is different sorts of transferences. We also transfer non-familial patterns onto other people. In fact, we treat others not as they are, but as we think they are. So some people, we idolize, for example, people like policemen, priests, doctors, teachers. So we get into this, we idolize them because of the job they do. They must be amazing people. I want to be close to them. That's also why some of these people have issues with extramarital affairs and things, because someone will idolize them, transfer their feelings towards them, and they counter-transfer, and things happen. Okay, so there's different sorts of transference. Be aware of it when you sit in your counseling room. When your client is starting to act different towards you, when they're starting to come to the sessions and they start bringing you gifts, make sure you've got some sort of plan going. What happens when clients bring gifts?
You don't accept.
Most people don't accept.
You say, sorry, I can't accept this.
So what Peter Janetsky does, I've talked to you before about him. He runs a practice in Brisbane. He's an amazing counsellor. He's got about 4 people that work with him. They've got a team of 4. And he says sometimes some of the clients will bring them cake or cupcakes or something. And he'll always accept it, but he says, thank you, we're going to share it with the team at tea time or at lunchtime or whatever, so that the client knows he's not going to take it in, but they're going to share it as a team. But he says when it's gifts like something personal, he never accepts it. Okay, so be aware of things like this with your transference. What's happening? Why are they doing this? People get thankful for things that you do for them and helping them and talking to them, but they also can place you onto certain pedestals. Someone wrote, he says that people place us on pedestals and we enjoy the view. We enjoy sometimes to be in this position. We enjoy it if people really come and think, like, oh, you're the one that's going to save me, you're the one that's going to help me. Be aware of that. Don't make sure that you're not on that pedestal. Okay, so transference is one of those big things that cause a lot of problems in the counselling area.
So manipulation can be tied into it?
Not really, because they don't manipulate you. They become adoring. They place you in the role of someone that they want in their life. So I want you to be like the father I always wanted, or I want you to be this figure that I really admire. So they place you into this role.
Sometimes they're quite honest about it. Do you know what I mean? They'll tell you,
Yeah.
and their actions tell you. So there's no manipulative behaviour in it.
When you say about using transference, do you mean like using their transference of their parent role onto you to influence them?
They
As long as
use.
it's for the the good of the client. Do you mean by using transference?
If you're getting aware of that in your session, you can actually start focusing on that. And you can say, but this action you have now, this feeling you have now, I wonder where it comes from. Can we explore this? Can we go there? Can we see
Talk
what's
about
happening there? I mean, you can use it to the positive. It's not really such a negative if you get aware of it and you expose it and you start to explore it. And where are we going with this? What's happening here? This feeling you got towards me, where does it come from? Let's think about this. Work with your client. Delve in there. It's like when we watched In Treatment. There's transference happening with one of the clients. And those of you that watched season 1, there's one client that shows transference towards the counsellor, and she tells him,
That was Sophie.
Laura.
Oh, Laura, that's it.
Laura. Episode 1, she comes and she says to him, she says, I'm falling in love with you. Remember
Watch
that?
The Sopranos too, because remember The Sopranos, and he was going to counselling.
Yeah, I do
Watch
remember.
that because there's lots of transference happening there, where she's starting to fall for this gangster guy, and he's starting to, he's started emotional attachment. Watch some of that.
I haven't
Like
actually
something
watched
from
it.
some time ago, but go back and watch some of The Sopranos as well, which is very much like In Treatment. But
Yeah, so watch it.
it's good.
Watch it. When you watch these shows, watch them from a counsellor's point of
from your
view.
perspective, what you
See
think.
what happens in the counselling room in your show. That's why I said to you the other day, go and watch Good Will Hunting. Go and watch what's happening there. Watch these movies. They're really good movies.
I think I've got the Sopranos DVDs
Yeah.
at home.
So go and watch this. Especially, we're going to watch In Treatment again soon. We just bought season 2, so we're going to start going through them again. Another thing is In Treatment. There's one session where he actually gets a gift, gets a coffee machine,
Oh, I do
From
remember
Alex.
that one.
and how he reacts to the coffee machine. Okay, so
That was with Alex.
with Alex was
Yeah, that's
that.
right, I remember.
So that's the spot. Be aware. This is alive and well in our counselling rooms, and it can have an influence on your practice if you don't address this. But it can also help you to get your client to get the biggest victories about stuff in their lives. If we expose this and we delve in it and see what's happening there. Okay, so work with transference. Examples of transference is you meet someone at a party who reminds you of a favorite aunt, and you find yourself feeling warmly towards this new acquaintance. You go to a party, there's this person that reminds you of someone, and suddenly you just want to be friends with them. Have you felt that before? A client who has difficulty depending on others may find themselves feeling resentful, jealous, or angry towards their therapist. without realizing there is a connection between these feelings and the therapist's upcoming vacation. So maybe this person is very jealous towards you, and in the first session you said to him, we can only have 2 sessions and then I'm going to go on a boat cruise. And then this person starts to become resentful towards you because actually they're so jealous because they want to go on this boat cruise too, and they've always wanted to go on this, and now suddenly what are you doing? And you get a breakdown in communication, you struggle because there's this transference thing happening. Okay. A client who fears disapproval and rejection notices that they suddenly find themselves worried about judgment or criticism from their therapist when they start to talk about a certain topic. So sometimes you get that they feel that you're going to judge them. So I'm not going to tell you what I did wrong. That's one issue that I personally have against counseling, religious forms of counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will come to you and say, but you're going to be judged, you're going to judge me if I tell you what's going on in my life. So that's why I would run a practice which is like a non-religious practice. So people can come and tell me who they are and what they are, and I can help them through that.
Do you find that hard to separate that with your own belief?
No. No. I'm a counsellor that's a Christian. I'm not a Christian counsellor. So I'm not letting that come into the way. So, it also depends on where you counsel.
Yeah.
Like my previous before this, I counselled at City Point Christian College, which is a Christian school. So I'm going to get more Christian-oriented questions and things, and people struggling with religious issues than when I worked at Beeley State High. Beeley State High was again a different type of thing. So where you go depends also on how you do it. But my personal viewpoint is when I run a practice, it will be a non-religious.
Do you find that like just suspend your belief when you walk in?
Sorry?
Do you find you have to suspend your beliefs?
No, you still believe what you believe.
Yeah, but you don't.
But you just don't push
Don't
those.
force it on.
No.
And I don't speak Christian lingo. Big normal. My clients get me for who I am, and they're comfortable. And if they bring it up, we go there.
Well, that's right.
Okay, so, a client who struggles with anger and hostility may find themselves similarly struggling with anger and hostility towards the therapist. So if they've got this anger issue, sometimes these anger issues might be because of issues at school. And at school, and that issues against authority figures, they place you in that authority figure role, they transfer that to you, so that they become hostile against you, and suddenly there's resistance.
A lot of tension.
Yeah, a lot of tension, but also resistance to change. So you'll say to him, go home and go and think about this or this or that, and they'll come back next week and you'll say, did you think about it? No, I didn't. So one of the ways is, okay, can we explore why you didn't go there? What made you not want to do this? That's why in previous times I said to you, not a good idea to use the word homework. Don't say to your client, I want you to go home and do some homework. Okay? Go home and I want you to do an exercise, or I want you to
go away and think
have a bit of an experiment at home.
Yeah.
Try and do it. Just don't use the word homework. People have negative connotations to homework. I hated homework.
So did I.
My supervisor gave me homework.
And what
He
did
said,
you do?
I didn't do it. He told me I need to go home and I need to have a conversation with the 8-year-old me. Which is a great idea. And I was willing to do it until he says, so don't forget to do your homework. I'm not going to talk to the 8-year-old me now. But if he says, I would have been interesting to find out what the 8-year-old would say to you. Go and think about this. I would be back the next week and tell him what the 8-year-old would think about it. The 8-year-old standing in the corner, I'm not asking him nothing. Last week my wife said to me, so when did you have this conversation with the 8-year-old? I said, never. The 8-year-old can stay there, that's fine. He's not doing homework. So just be careful of your wording, because that causes transference. I've got transference. I've got resistance because of the word homework. One of the things I resisted at school was homework.
I think everyone did.
Biology homework. I hated biology.
I resisted Braille. I hated it.
All right. Is transference easy to notice? It depends. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's really, really, like in treatment, Laura comes to him and says, I'm falling in love with you. He didn't really act that great to Laura. He should have said, let's cancel our sessions, go to another counsellor, because this is going to be dangerous. So if you want to watch in treatment, you can see that it really ends up bad for this counsellor. There was lots of conflict because of the fact that he didn't act properly when she said that about the transference that's happening in her life. Okay, so be careful of this. So yes, sometimes it's not easy to see. Sometimes it's not that visible. Sometimes your clients don't really react the way you think. Sometimes it's really just very low key. And sometimes it's big, like gifts and telling you, and you see this admiration, and they want to phone you, and they can't live without you, and they're depressed if you go away for a week and you miss an appointment, those sort of things. Okay, so be aware of all sorts of.
It's
That's why you don't
happen
give out
over
your-
time, isn't it?
It happens over time. It's not going to happen like day one.
No, that's right.
So as you journey with your client,
Yep.
and as they start to become more and more close to you,
Mm.
these things come up. Okay, and so we've got the different ones, especially the biggest one, as we said, is the paternal one. People want this father figure, this role model. And I think we're going to get it more and more in the future as families are starting to become more dysfunctional. That father figure is not there. So. Okay, how transference shows up in therapy? It happens when you unconsciously transfer the feelings, memories, and desires you experience in your early important relationships onto your therapist. So you transfer these feelings. So sometimes your therapist will be, and most therapists are older men. Younger women come in, older man, he listens to her, which she wished her dad would listen to. Spend time, give advice, help her, journey with her. He's there every week, he shows up. Dad never showed up, he shows up, he's there. She's got the security, if he's going to go there next Monday, he's going to be there. And suddenly she places him into this position. Okay, so therapy heightens this unconscious propensity for transferring your feelings onto the therapeutic relationship. The more and more you talk, the more these feelings are being transferred. So be aware of this. Okay? Be aware of body language, be aware of what's happening in your client. Also be aware of what's happening in you. If you start getting feelings for your client, talk to your supervisor.
Because that's where damage can happen.
Talk to your supervisor immediately. So that's why professional supervision is such an important thing. And I'll keep on saying it every time I talk. I feel like a broken record already. Professional supervision. Go to your supervisor. Speak to a professional person about what's happening in your rooms, in your counseling sessions. Okay? It's important. These feelings can take many forms apart from a romantic or erotic attraction.